What's up, fam? Now, we've all got a nice kick, nice laugh, made a couple of dollars off of these Somalis in Minnesota that were caught accused of stealing government funds to make these daycares where there are no kids, these medical facilities where you can't get medical help, things of that nature. But let's not forget how this all started in the first place. We want to introduce y'all to Amy Bach, the mastermind, the leader, if you will, of this whole fraudulent campaign. This is how I got started. So what I want to do is watch a news clip where this news station actually interviewed her behind bars, and then we're going to break down in detail exactly what she did and how she stole all these funds. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
Now to a CBS News exclusive interview with the woman prosecutors say was the mastermind of Minnesota's biggest COVID-era fraud scheme. 44-year-old Amy Bach is not part of the Somali community. Last year, she was convicted of orchestrating a $250 million pot to defraud a government program to feed hungry children. CBS News Minnesota investigative reporter Jonah Kaplan spoke with that woman exclusively. He joins us this morning from Minneapolis. Jonah, really important interview. I mean, you spoke to her in the jail cell. Break down the story for us.
Well, look, Kelly, good morning. And when you think about all that's been going on here in Minneapolis with
Hold up. I missed something. Amy Bach. Take a good look at her. Like the woman said, she's not part of the Somali community. This is a middle-aged, old-looking white woman who started all this. See, in order to get money like this, in order to fraud the government like this, you have to be one of them folk. You have to know somebody who knows somebody who's on the inside. And I guess, unfortunately, most of us are not on the inside like that. It's these people, this woman. So she did what a lot of them folk do. They find a scheme and they say, where can I find some suckers to help me pull this off? Now, I could get my friends and we can run it, but we actually need somebody that's going to be the face of this organization for the most part. That's going to really who's going to need the money. They're going to be probably going to jump right on it because can't get real jobs or probably tired of being taxi drivers. So we're going to show them how to make a lot of money. All they got to do is just kick back up to us. And if anybody get caught, it'll be them. It's kind of like, drug dealers in the neighborhood when they get little kids to be their runners. They're thinking, well, they get caught. They won't get a whole lot of time, but that has changed now. But they won't get a lot of time and it won't get back to us because them little kids ain't gonna want to snitch, right? Or remember that story? Was it in California where this woman she had a nationwide uh, scheme where she had people, a lot of them minority females, going into these, what do you call it, Ulta and Mac stores and these beauty supply stores. When I say like makeup, not like the little Asian ones, I'm talking about like the high dollar ones. Going to these stores, stealing makeup, bringing it back to her, shipping it to her, and she's selling online or got people to sell it online. She's living in like a mansion in California or something like that. That's what they do. They get us to do things. When I say us, I mean not them, to do the dirty work while they sit back and collect all the profits. But this heifer got caught. But anyway, let's continue.
A government program to feed hungry children. CBS News Minnesota investigative reporter Jonah Kaplan spoke with that woman exclusively. He joins us this morning from Minneapolis. Jonah, really important interview. I mean, you spoke to her in the jail cell. Break down the story for us.
Well, look, Kelly, good morning. And when you think about all that's been going on here in Minneapolis with the surge of all these federal agents, it's all because, at least according to the administration, it's this fraud investigation. And the Somali community has been at the forefront of the investigation because most of those who have been either charged or convicted in the fraud schemes are Somali. But Amy Bach is not Somali, but federal prosecutors blaming her
But a white woman.
for being the mastermind, at least of one of these schemes. It's rare to speak with someone in federal custody, but Amy Bach told us she defended her actions, but she has some regrets. We were allowed 1 hour to speak with Amy Bach over a video call from her Minnesota jail cell.
Now I can hear you, yes.
Until she was arrested in 2022, Bach led Feeding Our Future. The now infamous nonprofit signed up restaurants and caterers, many from Minnesota's large Somali community, to receive taxpayer money for providing meals to children in need.
During COVID, for obvious reasons, parents were allowed to come and pick up meals. So we suddenly were able to reach more children.
But prosecutors said it turned into something else, the nation's largest COVID-era fraud, with Bach as its mastermind. Are you the mastermind of this scheme?
Absolutely not. I believe in accountability. If I had done this, I would have pled guilty. I wouldn't
Uh-oh. Do I hear the white woman tears coming out?
have gone to trial. I wouldn't have put my children and my family through what we've been through. I've lost everything.
While Bach's attorney provided this video showing stacks of food, prosecutors say Bach and the businesses she recruited stole tens of millions of federal dollars, spending it on luxury cars, real estate ventures, and vacations.
I wish I could go back and do things differently, stop things, catch things. At that point in time, I believed we were doing everything in our power to protect the program.
But in 2021,
Yes, protected from getting caught.
Bach sued the state agency that oversaw the meal program, alleging its scrutiny of Somali applicants was, quote, discriminatory. How do you think state officials took that?
She must have learned that from the governor.
Nobody wants to be labeled as being racist.
Minnesota officials told a state watchdog the threat
That sounds democratic.
of legal consequences and negative media attention intimidated them into easing off.
The notion that a state government is paralyzed and has to allow this level of fraud because they were afraid of what I might do in a lawsuit is preposterous.
Humbly welcome Amy Bach.
In Minnesota's large Somali community, one leader called her a modern-day Robin Hood.
The community deserves this. The children need this.
In 2019, the nonprofit submitted $3 million worth of meal claims.
Damn.
2 years later, it submitted nearly $200 million. All of a sudden, you're cutting $200 million worth of checks. How do you not see that as major red flags and keep this going?
We relied on the state. We told the state, this site is going to operate at this address, this day, this time, and this number of children. The state would then tell us that's approved.
Prosecutors also accused Bach of collecting bribes and kickbacks from meal site operators.
So did she just blame the state for giving her money fraudulently because she asked for it fraudulently? So it's the state's fault that because of what you put down, they said, okay, and they went ahead. But I will blame the government to a point, and I'll get to that shortly.
At trial, they revealed text messages where she compared Feeding Our Future to the mob. Are you a mob boss?
Absolutely not. No.
Were you personally benefiting from any of it?
I collected my salary, and that was all that was collected.
Didn't federal agents find gold jewelry, cash in your closet?
They found minimal jewelry. I believe it was like 2 pair of earrings, a bracelet, a watch. There was some cash there.
At trial, Bach took the stand, but the jury didn't buy her story. Within hours, they convicted her on all counts. Last month, a judge ordered her to forfeit more than $5 million in proceeds from the fraud. Minnesota officials are defending their actions, pointing to the fact that there were employees in state government that were the ones that actually told the FBI to go investigate Feeding Our Future. So far, 78 defendants connected just to the Feeding Our Future scandal. Remember, there are several social services under investigation, but 78 connected to Feeding Our Future have been charged, more than 60 pleading guilty or convicted at trial. Bach is awaiting sentencing, and Vlad and Kelly, she faces now decades in prison.
So, Jonah, one of the questions I had for you, and as I said to you on CBS Mornings, this is an incredible interview that you've given us, and you've been covering the story pretty much since it first broke. And so the question is, are these prosecutions done? I mean, you've got the alleged mastermind behind bars, and yet the administration, the Trump administration, is still going after the city of Minneapolis, going after the governor, going after the mayor because of these alleged cases of embezzlement and fraud. What's left to be done? In other words, what is left to be prosecuted if you've got the mastermind already behind bars?
Well, it's a great question, Vlad. And certainly before this latest Operation Metro Surge, and before that had become the headline, just before this, they had announced 5 or 6 new indictments in some of the other schemes. So there was a social service to provide people or to help them with housing for addiction services. There was also a scheme about behavioral health and autism. Those were all currently being investigated. And those, the number of people indicted there are still kind of in the single digits. And here in Feeding Our Future, that's just one social service program. There are 14 social service programs, high risk, they say, for fraud, that are currently under investigation. And since 2019, according to federal prosecutors, there have been $18 billion spent on those programs in Minnesota, and half of that could be fraud. So Feeding Our Future, that investigation took a few years. We're just at, as the U.S. attorney said, just at the end of the beginning of this investigation.
Yeah, it really does seem like there's going to be a slow trickle as you find more and more. And Jonah, we know that means you're going to be very, very busy as you continue to cover this. Thank you so much for your time.
$18 billion. So they're saying it could be anywhere from $8 to $10 billion worth of fraud with these programs. This woman here, she makes me think of something. That it's funny how, well, I don't know, it might be sad and scary at the same time how people can make themselves believe something, or they can lie to themselves so much that they believe their own story so they can justify it. Because she tried to put these tears out on TV saying that she's not guilty. If she could do something, if she could do anything different, she would have did more to uh, do more checks and balances to protect. She said to protect the organization. She didn't say do more things to stop the fraud. You know what I'm saying? To say, hey, y'all gave us too much money. Let me give it back. Or to say, hey, and with this, because what she's trying to say is, hey, this place is going to operate as a, you know what I'm saying, going to operate to feed children. And so send them money is basically what she's saying. It wasn't like she trying to make it seem like she didn't get the money. That she just said, hey, they said these people said they was going to do this. So the money was sent to them. All I got was my salary, and that was it. But like I said, evidence showed that what she said that it happened a little different than what she said. But anyway, let's get into some details of exactly how this Amy Bach defrauded the government. So it said this is how the federal child nutrition programs run by the USDA are supposed to work. It says the federal government reimburses nonprofits for meals actually served to children. Nonprofits submit daily meal counts, receipts, and site records. State agencies in Minnesota, the Department of Education, act as intermediaries. Now, I say during COVID, oversight rules were relaxed. That's why you see a lot of these fraudulent cases are coming out of 2019, like these feed the meal programs. What is the PPP loan, PPP loans, and what is it? Not the insurance, but the unemployment programs. All that stuff came around when COVID hit because a lot of regulations or the rules were relaxed because people were saying, "Oh, these people are out of work, at home, not making money. We just got to give them money," and that's when the con artists came out. It says in-person meal verification was reduced, emergency funding skyrocketed. That's what created the opening. Now, Feeding Our Future was, they say, quote unquote, the gatekeeper. Amy Bach's nonprofit acted as a sponsor. That meant Feed Our Families, Feed Our Future approved food sites, submitted reimbursement claims, and was trusted by the state to ensure compliance. So, like I said, they were like the overseers. People came to, quote unquote, came to them, or as the evidence showed, they went to the Somali community and was saying, hey, how would you like to sign up? We know you ain't anybody eating this Somali food like this. How would you like to sign up for a program that says you are feeding children on a daily basis? So you can get government funding and make a nice little kickback. And they was like, yeah, we can do that. That's pretty much how it went. The prosecutors showed that they approved sites that made no sense, including tiny storefronts claiming to serve thousands of meals per day. Sites with no kitchens, no staff, no kids. But again, nobody was checking on this. Locations operating impossible hours. Remember, like the daycare where they said they was open. The guy went by there in the middle of the day and no kids were there. Doors are locked. But then when the feds come back a couple of days later, or they did interviews, they said, "Well, our daycare is open from like 10 to 6 or something like that, or 6 to 10 or something like that." So, well, like, who works those hours? Like, you mean kids coming here at 10 o'clock at night? Most daycares open from like 8 to 5 or something like that. But anyway, stuff like that. It say dozens of meal distribution sites were set up on paper, but many sites were actually empty lots. Really? Apartment buildings, offices, small restaurants that couldn't possibly handle the volume. But on paper, they claim to serve thousands of children daily, multiple meals per day, every day of the week. Some sites claim numbers that would rival large school districts. That's what I'm not understanding. Like the man said, you start out making like what, getting like $3 million in 2019, and then 2 years later, you want $200 million. How the heck is that not a red flag for anybody? That's like me if I had a small business, selling perfumes and colognes and stuff like that. And then the first year, I done sold maybe $1,000 worth of product. And then 2 years later, I say I sold $50 million worth of product on some stuff. And I still got the same home office, making my own bottles and stuff out of my garage, putting on my own stickers, and I done sold that much with just me being the employee. That would be a doggone me red flag for anybody. It says, now this is where the fraud scales. Say sites will submit like fake meal counts, fabricated tennis rosters, invented delivery logs, bogus food invoices. Now, Feed Our Future, they approved the claims. And see, that's where you messed up. Submitted them for reimbursement, ignored or concealed obvious red flags. So again, if you over this and you're telling, and somebody's bringing you paperwork from a little old bitty restaurant that might serve a few dozen people a day, maybe 100 people a day. Now all of a sudden they're feeding 1,000 kids a day. Ain't that many kids in the freaking neighborhood? I mean, and you look at this and you don't think something is wrong with that. Well, that's why you got found guilty. Trial evidence showed recycled signatures, identical handwritings, and copy paste forms. Wow. Once claims were approved, federal funds flowed to the sites. Money was split via kickbacks. Now, the common pattern would be site operators kick money back to Feeding Our Future. Funds were routed through shell companies and personal accounts. Prosecutors showed money used for luxury cars, real estate, jewelry, travel, and cash withdrawals. Very little went to food. Can even go to Costco's, could you? Must have put the like Dollar Tree or something and got them little snacks off the shelf. Evidence also shows some site operators paid bribes to get approved. Others paid to avoid the scrutiny. Some payments were distinguished as consulting fees. That's her salary, I guess. This turned the nonprofit into a pay-to-play operation. They say state officials raised red flags and are sued. Say Minnesota education officials tried to pause payments, tried to deny new sites, and demand documentation. But Feeding Our Future responded by suing the state. Like I say, the way that governor is running things in Minnesota, everything, anytime like the Somalis were scrutinized, first thing they holler is racism. And we got a large Somali population, and it's just racist that y'all are attacking them and going after them when there's fraud everywhere. And it's like basically what you're saying is since there's fraud everywhere, just don't go after nobody. Pick and choose. Don't go after nobody because everybody is doing it. But somebody said, no, we're gonna start right here, and then we're gonna work our way around. Well, that's racist because you're starting with the Somalis, but you don't say won't start with the white people. You don't say that. You just say it's everywhere, and y'all are racist going after Somalis. I mean, I don't understand how that government is ran, but Minnesota, just like Illinois, Chicago, they all about to go bankrupt and destroying those cities. You know what I'm saying? To the tune of billions of dollars, amazingly. So Phoenix, they say, okay, so this lawsuit temporarily forced payments to continue, bought the scheme more time, allowed millions more to be paid out. Now, behind the scenes, the FBI, IRS, and Department of Justice began investigating. Financial records were traced, and phone records and texts were reviewed. I don't know why people think you can't go back and get old text messages. You can delete them, but they're still there on record. Key evidence included internal messages acknowledging fraud risk, approval of sites despite knowing the possibilities, financial benefit flowing back to the leadership. Now, in 2022, the federal agents raided homes and offices, seized records, cash, and electronics, and froze accounts. The scheme was unraveled quickly once payments stopped. I wonder how that happened. At trial, prosecutors argued this was not negligence, this was intentional, coordinated fraud. The jury agreed. Amy Bach was convicted on all counts. They rejected the defense that she was fooled. Fooled by who? Who the hell fooled her? The government? Come on now. So the fraud worked because, just to break it down in simple terms, emergency rules reduce oversight, feeding our future controlled approvals. Fake sites lied about the meals. Paperwork replaced reality. Money moved faster than the audits. Legal pressure delayed intervention. So, again, let's not forget who's the mastermind behind this. Not trying to exonerate or take any blame off the Somali community who was part of this scheme. What I think is what she did was went to a few places, told them what she was doing, and probably said, hey, if you know anybody else who wants to be a part of this, just let me know, show them how to do it, and I'll get everything approved. Just give me my little coins. And I guess it works for a while. My issue is this. I ain't gonna say my issue, but the thing is this: when you know you're frauding the government out of hundreds of millions of dollars, because she probably didn't make that much money. I think as a whole, the organization made $250 million, and everything got kicked down. I mean, distributed between everybody. When you get that much money in your hands, why stay in the United States? I mean, like seriously, not condoning this activity. Matter of fact, I'm vehemently against it because I mean it's fraud and it's stealing, and you end up getting locked up. But if you sitting on tens of millions of dollars and you know you didn't get it right, there's no way you're gonna be able. It's not gonna last forever. Nothing ever does. Why don't you just take that money and leave the country? If they want to send you some money overseas, and that's fine. But I'm just saying because people, criminals. Well, criminals do some of the dumbest things sometimes because they feel that they can't be caught. Which is why I think it's so easy for her to sit here and tell these lies in his interview and try to make us believe that she knew nothing about it, that she's innocent, that she was fooled, that she's just, an innocent woman who was trying to feed the community and somehow got blamed for $250 million. Anyway, hey, like I said, this is a tip of the iceberg. I can't wait to find out. I can't wait for them to show us who were the masterminds behind these other, what do you say, like 15 other organizations that they feel took money from the government. I wonder what they look like. Anywho, that's all I got. Tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out of your day, but it means the world to us here at this channel. And with that being said, I leave you in peace and love, and I'll see you on the other side.